Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Great Expectations. Chapter 18, Many Changes. When I was able to turn my attention back to my own affairs, I found them in terrible shape. I was heavily in debt, and I had to sublet my expensive rooms until the end of my lease. Herbert had already gone east to manage Clericker's new branch office in Cairo, Egypt, but before leaving, he had assured me that a position of some kind would always exist for me at that branch. However, I could make no decisions about my life, for I was becoming ill. For weeks I had felt some serious illness and was trying to claim me, but I fought it off until Magwitch died. Now a fever came on to me, and I ached all over my body. I lay in bed shivering, but from time to time I would summon great strength in a delirium and wandered in the street. Then I came to my senses one day, still hot with fever, find two men looking down on me as I lay in the street outside my house. "Who are you?" "What do you want?" I called out hoarsely. "Well," said one of them, "we've come to arrest you for debt." I groaned and attempted to get up, but my legs buckled under me. "I would come with you if I could," I said, "but you see how I am." They went across the street and argued with one another, but ended up leaving. I stumbled in my house and relapsed into fever and nightmares. All the people I'd known in my life seemed to be sitting, one after another, at my bedside. I talked and screamed and threw up, and gradually the variety of people disappeared, leaving only one person always by my bed, Joe. The hand that sponged my hot face with cool water always seemed to be Joe's. The face looked at me with a tender expression always seemed to be Joe's. Finally, I asked weakly, "Is it Joe?" And Joe's welcome voice answered, "That it is, dear old Pip." I began to cry, not in delirium, but in my right sentence. "Joe, you should be angry with me. Strike me, Joe. Tell me how I betrayed our friendship. Don't be so good to me." Joe was happy that I recognized him, that he knelt beside my bed and gave me a hug. "You and me was always friends, dear old Pip," he said, his eyes filling with tears. "Now be calm and get well." Joe had been nursing me for a month. How long I was sick before that, I don't remember. Slowly I gained my strength, and it was like the old days in the house on the marches. I fancied I was little Pip again, for Joe talked to me with old simplicity and cared for me in the old protective way. One afternoon, when Joe judged me strong enough, he told me that Miss Havisham had died of her burns. I was expected all her money was left to Estella. Now that the subject had arisen, I offered to tell him about my own great expectation to my benefactor, since it was obviously not Miss Havisham. Joe broke in to say he had heard something about various events, but it was an unnecessary subject between friends. Then he jumped up to prepare our evening meal, so ended the discussion. When it became apparent that I had almost completely recovered, Joe left. He stole away early one morning, leaving a smudged and badly spelled note of farewell. Biddy had taught him to read and write, and he had been very proud to tell me this. Enclosed was a note paid receipt for the debt which I had been arrested. It was in Joe's name. Up until this moment, I had not let myself think about this creditor, hoping he had withdrawn court proceedings until I was better. I never dreamed that Joe had paid him his money. I sat down, still with Joe's note and then a receipt in my hand, thought about my foolish, selfish life of recent years. Then I remember the clear air that blew up from the river and over the marshes where I had been raised. The sweet face of sensible Biddy kept presenting itself to me. She had been my friend and confidant since her arrival off my sister's attack. What better way is there to change my life than marry Biddy, I asked myself. Whichever how humble and repentant I am, I will ask her to be my wife to make the decision as to our future. If she wants to work with me at the forge with Joe, I will do so. Or if she wishes me to find some occupation in the village or in the country, then I will do that. I will tell her of Herbert's offer. When she wishes to go to Egypt, that we will do. 3 days later, I took the coach to Kent. The June weather was delicious. The sky was blue, and the larks were soaring high over the green corn. As I neared the forge, I didn't hear the clink of Joe's hammer. As I came abreast of it, a shudder of fear went through me, for it was closed. The house, however, was not deserted, for I saw fresh white curtains fluttering out the window of the parlor. I hurried to the window and looked in. Joe and Busy were standing arm in arm. They shouted with joy to see me and embraced me. Biddy looked so fresh and pleasant that I embraced her again. Now that you are here, my dearest Pip, she said, my wedding day is quite perfect. Joe and I have been married. I managed to congratulate them without showing my disappointment. I then spent several hours with them before tearing myself away from these two dear people and hurrying back to London. There I sold all I had and arranged to pay my creditors little by little. When traveling to Egypt and took a position as a clerk in Cleriker and Company, Herbert had married Clara, and I lived with them. Gradually, I rose in the firm, paid all my debts, and lived well within my means. I wrote constantly to Joe and Biddy. After several years, I became a partner in Clerikers. Our firm was never one of the largest, but we made a profit and had a good reputation. One day, Cleriker could not bear to keep the secret of Herbert's partnership any longer. And he told me how it came about. But now Herbert's ability would have brought me a partnership of his own, but my money had done it when he needed it, and he loved me for it.
Barbara did good.
Bye. Yep.